Alright, hey everyone, Minipika here, and good morning. We are playing The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on the Nintendo Switch 2. We are going to be starting a new game. Alright, okay, good, great. I think all you guys will be inside is the YouTube video too. Great, I'm in bright light.
Open your eyes. Open your eyes.
That is a Sheikah slate. Take it. It will help guide you after your long slumber. Hold the Sheikah slate up to the pedestal. That will show you the way. Link, you are the light. Our light. That must shine upon Hyrule once
I will
again.
win.
Now go.
coffee. I need that too. You're not the only one. Getting coffee, send that my way. Hi, welcome. How are you? I'm soft spoken because I'm not really awake. One seed. That is one seed out of 800, 999 seeds out of 100. Oh boy. Got a lot of seeds to go. Got a lot of seeds to go. Hi Austin.
Link,
Hi Bill.
head for the point marked on the map in your Sheikah
Hi
slate.
Cookie. Hi Andrew. A cheeseburger. There's a locker room. Hi, how are ya? Joe. Hi David. Hey, Aaron. How you doing, Aaron? And there goes my shins. Gabby, how's it going? 7-piece nugget, how's it going? Just Justin, how's it going? Shadow, morning. Christopher, morning. Welcome in. Fancy, welcome in. Have you ever thought about this? Why does the Nintendo Switch shirt exist in Breath of the Wild on Wii U for a DLC item instead of turning it into a Wii U shirt? Because it's a red Nintendo Switch shirt for the DLC for Breath of the Wild on Wii U when it should be a blue Wii U shirt for the DLC. You guys want to say hi to YouTube? This is being recorded this morning too. I might make another coffee here pretty soon. Oh, thanks for the likes. I love how your icon is just piano keys. That's pretty cool. I approve of the piano keys. All right.
Ho!
Hi everybody, welcome in. Sorry if I'm low spoken. I just barely got up like an hour ago.
Oh.
I mean, technically we could get off the Great Plateau, but with using a door on the edge. But if we get too far off the plateau, we would just automatically get teleported back up here if we wanted to get off of the door. We would probably only be able to go probably about 3 or 4 feet away from the door before we get teleported. That would require us to have Magnesis and Cryonis to fly off the Great Plateau. Oh, look at that. It's a job simulator robot profile. Nice. Davis. Jacob. Apple. Welcome in. Are we sure that the Nintendo Switch shirt is not in Tears of the Kingdom somewhere, or was it just removed for like shits and giggles? Hi, Bubba. Okay, then we're gonna do a few things around here. We're gonna collect a couple arrows, get a couple of chests, and then we're gonna head over to the bomb shrine. I wish I had an Elgato HD, Elgato 4K 60, because then I could do this 4K 60 rather than being 1080p 60 on a Switch 2. But I don't believe that TikTok has 4K 60 compatibility support.
Oh.
Machine. Thank you, but no thank you. I'm not going on top of the tower back again. Hi, James. Over here, we might as well free one of our Korok buddies. Okay, well that means we have 800, 997 Koroks left to find. And this game came back. This game came out in 2017. So it's about if we were in 2027, it would have been about 17 years old, if that would be correct. But because it's 2026, it's not 17, it's 16 years old. It's on stream and on YouTube because I have OBS recording it too. It'll go up in both places. That's why I said say hi to YouTube, because it's being recorded with chat. Hi, Troy. Yeah, it's 9 years old because it came out in... Is this on PC? No. Official hardware. Switch 2. I mean, you can get it on PC, but it runs like dog shit on PC. Yes, it can be played through a Switch emulator, or it can be played through Cemu, which is a Wii U emulator. But to be honest, it's not really worth it because it runs like dog shit half the time, even on a good computer. I've seen people play this game on like the highest NVIDIA card, and so I've seen this game be played on the highest NVIDIA card and like a Core i9 14900K, and it still run even with like frame rate uncapped. You're still getting like, it'll go up to like 120, go down to 60, down to 30, down to 20, back up to 120, and it'll just keep fluctuating up, down, up, down. It won't, it even capped, it won't sit still. Because the original game Breath of the Wild was so poorly optimized to the point of it never worked properly. That was the biggest problem with Breath of the Wild, because they were trying to make the game so grandiose, make the game so big, and didn't understand the rendering problem, that having everything render at the same exact time, whether you're in a shrine or not, causes performance issues. Because if, for an example, if we look outside of this shrine and we go look at Death Mountain, that whole region is rendered right now. And that is what's causing most of the performance issues, is because the game is rendering everything all at the same time and not doing what's called a micro render, which is basically meaning that it renders it at a lower resolution than at the highest resolution. So, okay. So here's an example of a location. That Dueling Peak stable, if it wasn't rendering at full capacity, you would not be able to see that shrine over there in the distance. That shrine would not appear. This is at the max render distance. And I'm pretty sure if we want to, like, let's say it's like Minecraft. If it was lower, we would probably be able to see that top of that mountain, which would probably be, we'll say, around 8 render distance, 8 chunks. Now, if we can see that shrine up there, that's probably about 12 to 16 render distance. And that means that that is rendered all the time. It's never not rendering. Just like if you look closely at Death Mountain, you can see Varudania walking around. That wouldn't happen if the game wasn't constantly rendering that scene constantly over and over and over again. You can see the lava smoke coming out, the lava coming down. This is what's causing the lag on Switch 1. everything's being rendered all at the same time, and it's not being low polyed so that the game's not running like turds. But because Nintendo wants the game to be constantly being rendered all at the same time, and they don't want load zones or they don't want like pauses, they render the entire game all at the same time, and that's when you get the problems with the game. Because everything's being rendered all at the same time. It's not being rendered individually when you get close to it. And it's they can deny that the thing's not being rendered, but you already saw that Darunia was running around on top of Death Mountain and being rendered. So that proves that the game is rendering that far out. And if we were looking at it from that distance is probably like, in Minecraft terms, 32 chunks out that's being rendered. Now, if you think about it, if we look over at Vometo, you can see the propellers and you can see it start floating around the map. That's still being rendered. So isn't Calamity Ganon. That's being rendered. Everything that's being rendered that really shouldn't be rendered is what's causing the lag on the Switch port. That's what causes a lot of the not intermittent issues, more on line of there's so much particle effects going on that the game can't render it. That's kind of like when you do you stand in the let's see your weapons. That's kind of like when you stand in the middle of a bokoblin camp and you blow up a explosive barrel and you see all those particle effects, and then your frames go from 30 down to like 15. Is because the game can't render all that at the same time, and it has to save resources so it doesn't crash itself. Fun fact, did you know that there's two types of blood moons in Breath of the Wild? There's a standard, and then there's called a panic blood moon. A panic blood moon happens when the game is running out of resources and it has to restart itself so the game doesn't hard crash back to this part. That's what a panic blood moon would do if it wasn't activated. It would give you an error saying this game could not render whatever, and it would hard crash back to the main screen, and that would be it. So basically what the panic blood moon does is it reloads everything. Every item, every block, every rock, every fish, every enemy, every mini boss, everything. It reloads everything. From an autosave that you will never see on the bottom of your screen to a point of where you have never killed that boss or that Molduga or something like that. It's an invisible autosave that the player will never see as an icon on the bottom right hand side or the bottom left hand side of their screen. Nintendo put that in the game because they realized that the game was so big that having a lot to do in the game would cause so much hitches and stutters in the game that they had to come up with a solution of reloading the world but not making it take up more resources than what you're currently doing when playing the game. That's why you get a panic blood moon. And so a blood moon is set to appear every 7 days in Breath of the Wild. A panic blood moon can happen at any point in Breath of the Wild as soon as your day cycle starts, which is when you walk out of the Shrine of Resurrection, is when your time cycle starts. So for an example, if I killed every enemy within a general vicinity around me right now, and I step off the Great Plateau, I have a timer set for at least, I think it's the first 24 hours in game that a blood moon, panic blood moon could trigger and respawn every enemy that I've killed back to the world. Because the world cannot render without certain assets in the game without crashing. The thing about Tears of the Kingdom, though, is they have more than one panic blood moon that goes off at a time. I believe Tears of the Kingdom has between 4 and 5 panic blood moons compared to the actual blood moon. There's a thing in Breath of the Wild that you can actually go to the foothill stables near Kakariko Village, and it will tell you what tonight's moon is going to be. If it says something ominous is going to happen, then you have a blood moon coming. If it says it's going to be a crescent moon, like the shooting a bow, then you know that it's going to be a crescent moon. That's an easy way of being able to determine when your blood moon is going to happen. And then sometimes with a blood moon, sometimes he won't even tell you when a blood moon is coming because the NPC cannot detect a panic blood moon. It can only detect a scripted blood. That's the problem part with Breath of the Wild, is because you can't really. Scripted blood moons are the only things that the NPC can tell you, but when it's a panic blood moon, the game doesn't know itself. Basically it's trying to save itself from running out of resources so the game doesn't crash back to the home screen of the Switch. Is basically what the blood moon is doing. Another thing, I was watching Chugga Conroy's vlog, and I was getting triggered for how they were saying Gerudo, which is the tribe that lives in the desert, and they were calling it Gerudo, and I'm like, why are you putting so much emphasis on a D that does not exist in that tribe? It's called Gerudo. It's not called Gerudo. Well, if you look at the tribe's name, it literally says Gerudo. But I'm pretty sure when you look at it, it sounds like a D because it could be that the G is just not silent. Like a lot of words. Like if you have like a lot of words together, they kind of make it so that the G and like C's and stuff like that are not like pronounced properly. But I'm pretty sure it is called Gerudo because it's the tribe that lives in the desert that only... It's always been another thing to me. Okay, here's the thing. It's a tribe of nothing but women. And apparently there's a male that's born every 100 years. How on earth how the hell does that work? Because males are banned from entering the Gerudo Desert or the Gerudo town. Because if that's the case, if males are not allowed to enter Gerudo Town, then how is a male born every 100 years within the town? And then in lore of Legend of Zelda, if a male is born, they are exiled from the town, meaning that they're no longer a part of the town. So how does that mean that Ganondorf, which is a Gerudo, is banished from the town, but you see in Tears of the Kingdom that he's still running the women tribe, even though he's been banished. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I get it. In Breath of the Wild, there are Gerudo female that are walking around aimlessly around the town, around like other places. But what doesn't make sense to me is they should be like not allowed to come back. Oh, my bad. Well, it's kind of like a theory. Think about it. It's like a game. It's like game theory or Zelda theory that things happen and it's really weird. I've always wondered that. Okay, got some cold resistance now. I'm not gonna bite the bullet. Alright. Now we'll go back up this way. Even though the shrine's over there, I would like to get the warm double. I mean, if you want to see my already beaten file of what weapons I have, I can show it to you. Well, not really beaten. I'm missing like a shit ton of Koroks, but I have every other thing in the game because I was using Zelda notes. Oh, I love using the Pro Controller too. One thing I really hate about it is you can't really pair it to your computer because it uses a low frequency Bluetooth that modern PCs can't pick up. Unless you're using a program from a website, which I would rather not. I think the one thing that is kind of weird about when people do 100% is they play Breath of the Wild without the DLC. And to me, I feel like, yeah, technically, yes, it is considered 100%, but technically, no, it's not considered 100% because there's a lot more like quests that you can do. Yes, I ran all the way up here.
Oh.
King Rome's. If I jump off a cliff, will I die? Depending on how high the cliff is. It ultimately just depends on how high up you are. Like, if I fell off this cliff, I wouldn't die. I would take a lot of damage, though. I would take a lot of damage off this cliff. Yeah, see? Well, on that one, I hit a rock. On an airplane? Okay, are we talking about Breath of the Wild, or are we talking about like an airplane? Because Breath of the Wild does not have airplanes. Ow. Does it? No, Breath of the Wild doesn't have airplane. Unless you're talking like Tears of the Kingdom where you have Zonai stuff, then yes, you could make an airplane. From Breath of the Wild, there's no airplanes. Sorry to bless your bubble on that one. Why do I remember making Korax jump off airplanes? I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about Tears of the Kingdom, where you're able to make whatever you want by using your Ultra Hand? Because if not, then I'm totally confused on what you're talking about. Oh, you almost made it up there. Okay, well, that bomb went off prematurely. Yeah, I'm not gonna get up there. But no, I don't know what you're talking about. Breath of the Wild does not have airplanes.
Oh!
That's a beautiful sun. Just imagine if you were Link looking up in that distance and getting blinded by the sun. Yes, the two lines intersect near the Temple of Time. Thank you, though, King Rose. King Rose, by King Rose. We'll just go to the Great Plateau Tower. We need to do the Shrine of Resurrection. Let's take the focus. I think the one thing I don't like about the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller is my hands are too big. I kind of prefer the Switch 1 Pro controller because it was just slightly bigger than my hands. Granted, I used to have one, but I beat the shit out of it so much that it stopped working. Yes, I need at least 13 hearts to get the Master Sword. Correction. I need 12 hearts to get the Master Sword. Thank you, King Ross. For homage to the High Rule. I don't really care. Not like anybody hasn't seen these cutscenes before. Perfect. Fuck that one up 6 places better. No, 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 no. Don't send me flying into the abyss. I went the wrong way. I want to go the right way. Ow! Fuck. I saw you first. Ember Relic. Never not gonna call it that. Like from Skyward Sword. This is where we might call it for the day. And then we'll get back to it later this afternoon.